Hi, Rich Leiter here, and welcome to my channel, The Naked Booktuber. So this is a copy of a painting by a Frenchman named Flandrin, Flandrin. It's his portrait of Madame Cambourg, Cambourg. What I do is sometimes I go to different museums throughout the world, their websites, and I look at the pictures, the collections they have, and I see whether you're able to get close-ups of different paintings with good resolution. And I was looking at the Detroit Museum, or the Detroit Institute of Art. I was just flipping through pictures there in their collection, their European collection, and I just happened to come across this painting by Flandrin, who was a student and a friend, I guess, of Ingres, I believe. And I just, never heard of the guy, and I just liked the painting a lot. I saw a possibility in it for myself. I love the simplicity of the painting. I thought that would be very challenging to do something which is really very simple. So that's what I did, and it was hard. I'm not finished with any of these paintings, but it's hard to do something which seems simple, which is flowing. The background in the original painting is like a yellow ochre or something. It's hard to tell because it's on a computer screen. And these computer screens with their pixels, they tend to make the image brighter than it is sometimes. It's hard to tell. It's hit or miss when you're copying something. A source material is an image on a computer screen, as I've said many times before. But anyway, it looked from the image on the Detroit Institute of Art website that it was like a kind of a greenish ochre background. And when I tried it, it was too dark. So I just experimented with it. I just tinkered with it, wet on wet. And since the chair is kind of the sofa that she's seated on, is a very, very darkish red. Well, what goes with darkish red? I mean, lots of things. Blues go with this kind of an alizarin crimson red, but greens go also. Phthalo green with white, that goes also. So I just kept brightening it, making it kind of a yellow green, a kind of a greenish color. I added phthalo blue with a little bit of yellow ochre to give us a greenish blue, and I just kept on going and blending it with a fan brush because it was wet on wet until the background was bright enough so that it seemed to pop for me. And the chair that Madame Cambourg is sitting on. Oh, I made it very complicated at first. I did a red underpainting, and then I glazed it with sort of an alizarin crimson, or with a very watered down ultramarine blue to give it this deep alizarin crimson look. Originally, it wasn't this simple. There was red in the chair, and there was this alizarin crimson, and there was some other stuff. It was too complicated. So I just wanted to have a solid mass for the chair, and a solid mass for her dress, and then her top and her face. Just very simple. And of course, the shadow actually plays into it very, very significantly, too. There's also some embroidery on her the blue cloth that she's leaning on, sort of a pattern, and I can't do that yet because the cloth hasn't dried yet. So I might go back to that and do it. On the other hand, I might leave it the way it is. I don't want to futz around with it too much and maybe mess up the simplicity of it. Also, the background, her chair, where she's leaning against, right over here by her shoulder. You can see there's some light there to give it a sense of depth as she's leaning into the chair. and I could work on that too. But I just sort of gave it a little flick of white here to suggest that this is the side of the chair. That's it. I might not. Again, I don't want to spoil the simplicity of it. Took me a long time to do the wooden handle of the chair down here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sorry. The wooden handle of the chair. I never did wood before, so I was kind of groping with that. And it turned out okay. It looks like a wooden handle of a chair, an end of a chair, but it could be better. She's got a necklace also that she's wearing, but I can't do that yet until the paint on her dress dries. I may not do anything. I don't want to have too many tchotchkes all over the place to detract from the simplicity of it. But the big thing I did that really made it come to life was I gave it this lighter mint green kind of background with the shadow, and I made the chair very simple. And I worked a long time on her face, a really long time on her face also. So I'm going to put it away and let it dry for a while and take it out maybe in a couple of weeks and see if if the spirit moves me to keep working on it. One thing I've noticed that when I'm painting something, and this I guess applies to writing too, or any sort of creative endeavor, is that you do a first draft or you do a first stage of a painting, and it looks good, you're happy with it, but then you look at it later on and you realize, as good as it is, it's missing something, but you don't want to touch it because you're afraid you'll mess it up. So you got to get into a certain to keep working on it and revise a painting or a piece of writing. I realize it requires energy. You have to have a certain amount of energy to attack it. And if you don't have that energy, you best not touch it or you'll screw it up. You got to get into the zone again. It's like you got to get over your initial lethargy and get to a certain, high point here where you're in the zone again before you attack it. And how you do that, well, everybody's got their own different way. Some people run. Some people, I listen to music sometimes to inspire me. Anything that will get you really going, energy-wise. Drinking coffee, that does it too. But you do need a lot of energy. It's a daring endeavor to try to revise a painting. And once you start revising it, you can't go back to the way it was. You really can't. You think you can, but you can't. It becomes a totally different painting, and it's irreversible, in my experience. And you just have to be prepared to let go of the old version. And just, it's an adventure. It's a daring adventure. One thing also one of the reasons, this is a booktube channel, basically. I review books, but I haven't been doing it. I noticed that with writing, I'm talking about myself. I could write something, and it could take me years, and it has. I wrote this novel. It took me like 20 years to write it. You were talking like, 15, 20,000 hours worth of work over a 20-year space. And then I did it, and then you do it, and nobody reads it, and I read it a couple of times, of course, and then I stop reading it. So many times you can read it. I've read passages on YouTube, but you stop after a while, and you put the book away, and it's as if the book doesn't exist anymore, for all intents and purposes. So you could put an enormous amount of energy into a book. It could go on for a long time, a really long time, months, years. With painting, I feel it's a bit different. You work on a painting, you do the best you can. Paintings can take years, there's no question about it. Leonardo da Vinci worked on his Mona Lisa for years. There are many examples of people who worked for years, several years, on paintings. But by and large, you work on a painting, it doesn't take me quite as long as a piece of writing. I never know with a piece of writing whether it needs to be revised again. I just never know. With a painting, I can, because it's visual, I can kind of just walk into the room and look at it and bam, I know. First impressions, my instinct. When I wake up in the morning and I look at the painting I've done, I immediately know whether it needs to be worked on. I let my instincts speak to me. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I know it's not done. I walked into the room when I did this revision and I said, bam, this is really good. I could leave it like this. I may tinker more, but it's done. And you just know, it's very different than writing. And another thing also is it just doesn't take as long for me. It could take like 6 months. 6 months is not a long time, compared to writing. And so once you've done it also, well, you can hang it up. You can just keep it in your room. But every time you walk into your room or somebody else walks into another room where it's hanging, they see it. It exists. Not so with a book. You don't take that book out, you don't read it, you don't talk about it. That book doesn't exist. This painting exists. And that is a perk. It is a seductive quality about painting that I really like. I want to write too. I think I'm a better writer than I am a painter, which is probably why I'm so dissatisfied with my writing, because I know what I'm capable of. And I guess when I'm not writing, or I don't have that energy level, or when I don't feel like investing 20 years into a project, something that may turn into 20 years, I sort of go to painting, and lately I've been seduced by painting, by something visual much more than writing. I'm not very interested right now in reading any books. I did some, great book reviews. I'm just not interested in I listen once in a while to a book review, part of it, as much as I can stand, but I'm not really interested for the time being in reading. I sure as hell am not interested in philosophy, reading of philosophy. If I'm going to read something, I'm going to stay the hell away from philosophy. That's for another video or set of videos why I have a complete aversion to philosophy. There are a lot of subjects I'd like to talk about in videos, but we have to be specific. We have to keep it short. So I'm just going to show my painting and just document it. I really like Modigliani. I'm liking him less and less as the years go on. And I realized, instead of copying a Modigliani, which is very, very stylized, I might as well copy a painting like this by Flandrin or Ingres. It's much more challenging. I think it's hard. I can't say it's harder to do. I haven't done any great copies of a Modigliani. But I might as well do this. In a way, they're very similar. It's just a sitter in a chair with a background. That's it, in both Modigliani and Flandrin. I for some reason, I picked this over Modigliani. That's all. And that's it for now. Thanks.